Little old Sonoma County has over 40 different school districts. Hard to believe, right? I've lived here in Sonoma County my entire life and helped countless families move here too. And I've watched the same thing happen every single time. Parents get overwhelmed trying to pick the right district. And here's the thing, test scores only tell one side of the story. Graduation rates tell another. And home prices, it's a whole different layer to consider. I mean, you need to see a full picture to make this decision. So today, I'm gonna start with a breakdown on all of this. The school districts, which ones perform, what private schools might cost you, one school you almost certainly have never heard of but should know about, and how all of this connects to where you buy here in Sonoma County. Let me start with something most people don't realize until they start house hunting. You're not choosing one school system when you move to Sonoma County. You're choosing from potentially 40 different school districts. Hard to believe. K through 12, I mean, that's a lot of different options, and it creates opportunity, but it can also create some confusion. With these different districts varying in size, one having 8 total students, and Santa Rosa on the flip side with 24 schools and almost 15,000 students. There's a lot to consider. Now, what makes this so unusual is just how fragmented it is. You're not dealing with one county system. Each community can run its own schools, and that creates different cultures, different funding mechanisms, and different results. From families relocating here, I've learned something. Most people start with test scores. They look at rankings, proficiency ratings, all the numbers. That's what they want to know. This also changes what you think about how property taxes and school funding goes, but I'll tell you how that works a little bit different in a place called Healdsburg. And those test score numbers only tell part of the story anyways. I mean, the district culture also matters. Community investment matters. The actual school your kid would attend, that's what matters most. The test score reality. Now, let's take a look at the data. The 2024-25 test results just came out. Sonoma County sits slightly above state averages. In English, about 40% of the students met standards. Statewide, it's about 49, so close in line. In math, the county was at 33, California was 37, science, 30 versus 33 state. So in a lot of ways, there are actually small gaps. They're consistent. The county superintendent said it directly. Educators have significant work ahead of themselves still. So here's what that means if you're moving here. The county overall performs steadily, middle of the pack by state standards, but specific districts can blow past these averages. That's why picking the right district matters so much and not lumping everything together. Now, the graduation rates do look better, and this is somewhere where Sonoma County schools start to shine. Graduation rates for California's classes based on 2024 was 87.5, with several of our districts blowing past those numbers. Healdsburg Unified hit almost 97% graduation rate. The state recognized them for a major improvement. Windsor reached 95%, Sonoma Valley was at 93%. Even Santa Rosa, the biggest school district, was right about average with 86% graduation rate. Think about what graduation rates actually measure. Not just academics, student support, community engagement, the whole environment that keeps the kids in school and moving forward. From working with families here, I mean, high graduation rates usually show strong community investment. It goes beyond just test prep. But here's something people miss. Some districts hit these results with way more resources behind them than others, and it can show. Later, when we look at how much those premium districts cost per square foot compared to the county average for housing, you'll start to understand why. That funding difference shapes everything. Class sizes, program options, all of it. So that's the landscape. Now, let's look at which specific districts actually deliver on some of these numbers. But before we continue, if you're weighing specific school districts in Sonoma County for raising your family, I work with families prioritizing schools and community fit all the time here in the wine country, and I can walk you through which neighborhoods match your priorities and budget best. My contact info is in the description below. All right, now let's get back to it. Some of the top districts. We'll start with Healdsburg Unified. I've watched this district for over a decade. It's one of the most interesting districts in the whole county. Healdsburg Unified serves about 1,200 students across 5 different schools. Here's what makes it unique though. It's community funded. The entire $30 million budget comes from local property taxes, not state money. And that's rare in California. The next nearest school that is operated and funded in this way is St. Helena in Napa County. So what does that funding create? It creates a teacher-student ratio around 15 to 1 or lower. That is way way below than the state average and way better than most districts in California. This allows teachers to give more attention to individual students, class sizes are smaller, and gives them more flexibility with their resources. The state just recognized Healdsburg Unified School District because they had a huge increase in graduation rates. They hit 97% overall. Healdsburg High School specifically was at 98.5% for 25. That's exceptional by any measure. From living here, I can tell you something. Community investment goes beyond just funding though. Local businesses support programs. That creates a culture where education is a real community priority, and you see it in the way the community supports the students and their activities. The district offers all the standard programs, sports like swimming, cross country, track and field, baseball, softball, basketball, football, soccer, performing arts like drama, choir, band, and STEM programs that are getting stronger and stronger. But here's the trade-off. Living in Healdsburg means paying for that quality for home values. Median prices sit well above the county average in Healdsburg. You're buying into a premium community with premium schools, but it means you're paying for it. That investment makes sense if education's top of your list and you can afford the entry point. So that's the gold standard. But strong schools exist at different price points for housing throughout the county. Windsor Unified School District takes a different approach. They have about 5,000 students across 7 schools, much larger than Healdsburg, but still very family friendly. And they hit a 95% graduation rate with a little bit higher teacher to student ratio of 22:1. What impresses me about Windsor? The program variety. They offer dual language immersion schools like Cali Calmeca Language Academy, where students are immersed in Spanish speaking and English speaking education, a virtual academy, career technician education pathways to get into culinary arts, STEM, media, business, trade schools, and all these programs run throughout the grade levels for different programs. The district also runs Windsor's Extended Learning Lab. That's before and after school care for TK through 6th grade, plus lots of summer camps. And they have the Treehouse program offering after school STEM, arts, and wellness programs for elementary school as well. So here's what makes Windsor interesting for families. You get that suburban lifestyle, newer built homes built in the 90s all the way to new construction, the smart train station just opening in 2025, direct rail down to the city. You get strong schools, good amenities, and better transit for people than most areas in the county. The middle school's Farm to Fork program is super popular too. Kids learn about sustainable agricultural, food systems, environmental care. They even do cooking classes using what they grow. All highly valuable here in Sonoma wine country. Windsor delivers strong performance without that Healdsburg price tag. That balance attracts families who want excellent schools with more moderate entry costs. One of the reasons we peg it as some of the best value real estate in Sonoma County. Now, Santa Rosa schools are a whole different animal. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. They have nearly 16,000 students across their schools. It's a completely different experience than some of the smaller districts in wine country. The student to teacher ratio is consistent at 22:1, and the district hit 86% graduation rate for 2024, and that's pretty significant given the size of the community here. And it offers stuff the smaller districts can't always offer. They have huge program diversity. Santa Rosa High School has over 40 student clubs, speech and debate, a beekeeping club, climate protection club, a random acts of kindness group. I mean, kids can find their people and their community no matter what they're into there, which is a benefit of a larger pool. Plus, they have all the standard sports like soccer, basketball, golf, tennis, swimming, cross country, track and field, wrestling, football, softball, baseball, and they also have a lot of unique partnerships with great community organizations like Luther Burbank Center for Performing Arts. That gives students access to professional level facilities and instruction. Students get to perform on the same stages where national touring acts come to play. This is really something unique for Sonoma County. But this size does create challenges. Classes are bigger, individual attention is a little bit harder, performance varies significantly school to school. From working with families considering Santa Rosa, the decision comes down to what do you value? Do you want small and intimate wine country districts, or do you prefer variety and program breadth from a larger urban district? Now, here's the real estate trade-off. Santa Rosa offers way more housing options than Healdsburg or even Windsor or Sonoma or other areas. You get more house for your money in a lot of areas in Santa Rosa. Larger schools and more variable results depending on which specific school district district serves your neighborhood. That variety gives you options, but it requires a bit more research to find the right fit for you within the district. Petaluma City Schools, among one of the larger districts, have posted the highest scores in English, math, and science for the last year. That's not just good, they're leading the pack. With a student-to-teacher ratio of 21:1, slightly below the average, Petaluma runs both elementary and high school districts. The high school district is particularly strong, being considered one of the top-rated in Sonoma County. Now, what makes Petaluma so interesting? It balances a small-town charm with strong academics and reasonable housing costs compared to some other locations like Healdsburg and Sonoma. The community has great historic character, Victorian architecture, you're close to 101, you have 2 SMART train stations making commuting easier, and the schools consistently perform really well. Petaluma gives you the best of multiple worlds. Strong schools, historic character, reasonable commutes, all without that price tag of Sonoma and Healdsburg. Now, here's something critical about these public districts. The relationship between property taxes, school funding, and what you actually get matters. This all connects to the private school conversation we'll be covering next. Now, what does private school actually cost? If you save $30,000 a year on tuition for 2 kids and put that towards housing, that equals the affordability of almost $120,000 higher on a purchase price. Keep that in mind as we talk about private schools here in Sonoma County. Now, Sonoma County has options ranging from religious schools to independent academies that offer alternatives to public schools. Usually they offer smaller class sizes, specialized teaching approaches, different educational philosophies like Montessori or Waldorf programs alongside traditional models. Now, here's what that private education may cost here. Elementary schools run between $6,000 and $10,000 per year, and high school can be $10,000 to $25,000, with outliers like Sonoma Academy in Santa Rosa costing as much as $60,000 per year. I mean, that's some serious money. A family with 2 kids going private from kindergarten to high school, you're looking at $150,000 to maybe $500,000 per student. That's on top of the housing costs here. The notable schools that we should take a look at include Cardinal Newman High School in Santa Rosa. It's an established Catholic prep school with an average graduating GPA of 3.73. Students go to competitive colleges, the community is very tight-knit, and the cost is more moderate actually than the elite independent schools like Sonoma Academy. No doubt, Sonoma Academy is the premium option. With tuition around $60,000 a year, it positions itself as a top-tier collegiate prep college. They've made it to the Robotics National Championship multiple years in a row, won national honors for speech and debate. I mean, if you compare it to the elite area private schools, it's competitive, but you're paying barrier prices for a wine country location here. Additionally, there are great elementary school options like St. Rose and St. John's that cover TK through 8th grade in Santa Rosa and Healdsburg respectively. The Healdsburg School serves TK through 8 in Healdsburg, and Windsor Christian Academy, which also operates in Windsor. And there are lots of options throughout the county serving different educational philosophies and grade levels. One other school I'd like to give a special mention to is Redwood Adventist Academy and the high school Rio Lindo Academy, located in Santa Rosa and Healdsburg respectively. Now, these are religious affiliated schools that offer very small class sizes, intimate settings, and some incredibly unique programs. Redwood in particular focuses on their garden and outdoor elementary school programs, which really allow kids to enhance their experience through the environment, through the creek that runs through the property, through gardening and hands-on activities, and just create a really unique atmosphere. Now let's talk about the reality of financial aid. It's something important to talk about. Most private schools here offer financial aid of some kind. About 30 to 50% of students get assistance depending on the school. That makes private education more accessible than the sticker price may initially suggest. So from talking with families who went private, financial aid can cut costs significantly. And I'll show you how to actually run these numbers against buying into a premium public school district later on. So when does private school make sense versus public? Let me give you a little bit of framework that I share with my clients. If you live in a top district like Healdsburg, Windsor, or Petaluma, private school is hard to justify on academics alone because the public school districts are so strong. You're already paying premium property taxes for that quality public education. So adding private tuition means you're paying twice essentially. Private school makes more sense if you value a specific teaching method, religious education, smaller classes, regardless of the academics, or if you live where public schools happen to underperform. Some families just also prefer the environment of private school, and regardless of the public option, will lean that direction. But here's the real estate angle most people miss. The money you save from choosing public schools over private. Now, that can boost your budget significantly. I mean, think about it. about it. If you save $20,000 to $40,000 a year on tuition, that equals the affordability of $100,000 to even $150,000 in purchasing power. You can buy in Healdsburg or Windsor or Petaluma, pay premium property prices, and get great public schools. And you still come out ahead compared to buying cheaper and then paying for private tuition sometimes. That's a calculation that every family needs to run for their individual situation. From experience, I've watched families make both choices successfully. It depends entirely on their priorities, budget, and what educational environment they're looking for their children. That calculation changes everything about where you buy and what you can afford. Speaking on that, let's look at what homes actually cost in some of these different districts. As of October 2025, median home prices in Sonoma County sit around $782,000. That's just under $800,000 and is down 0.6% year over year. That's a minor adjustment. Here's why that matters though. The market has shifted from a seller's market to more of a balanced market. Homes spend about 49 days on market on average now versus 38 days on average in the prior year. Buyers have a little bit more power, you're not seeing as many bidding wars, and they have more patience. They have time to evaluate your options and make the best decision. While Sonoma County is still expensive by national standards, property taxes run about 1.2%, so on a median priced home of $782,000, you pay roughly $9,000 a year in property taxes. In community funded districts like Healdsburg, those taxes directly fund your schools. In other districts, state money does supplement them. That market shift creates a bit of an opportunity. You have more time to find the right property, as I mentioned, in the right district without the pressure of making any immediate decisions, so you can evaluate how all of these variables come into play and may impact your family. Now, schools actually have an interesting impact on values of areas as well. School quality dramatically impacts property values across the county. Let me break down typical prices by community and district. In Healdsburg, where you buy into that 97% graduation rate and community funded model, median prices run well above the county average. Regularly, you see properties listed well over $1 million in quality, desirable areas in Healdsburg. Windsor, on the other hand, offers more moderate pricing. Newer construction, still strong schools, and you can find family homes in that $700,000 to $900,000 price range. More accessible than Healdsburg, while still getting into excellent schools. Sonoma commands premium prices, around $1.3 million as a median, partially due to school quality, and partly because of its historic character and wine country prestige. So Santa Rosa actually provides the most accessible entry point to Sonoma County. Prices closer to or even below the county median. You can get more house for your money, access to the big urban center, the trade-off, larger schools, and more variable quality depending on which specific school district serves your neighborhood. From working with buyers across the county, I can tell you families will often stretch their budget to the top of the line to get into a better school district. They may even accept a smaller home or a home with fewer upgrades in exchange for quality schools. That's rationale when you consider what private schools would cost as well against public schools. The school district choice ultimately sets your baseline for your budget, because if you want to be in a certain area, you have to have the budget to accommodate that. Otherwise, we need to focus on what is within the budget and make the best decision with we're working with. Location and transit also matter. If you're having to commute to work, it's something to think about strategically. If you're going to the Bay Area, access via SMART train or 101 makes sense. The SMART train serves Windsor, Santa Rosa, Rohnert Park, and Petaluma, with direct service into Marin County and connections to San Francisco. Healdsburg won't have the SMART train until 2028 when the extension's completed, and hopefully it will continue on to Cloverdale. So if you want Healdsburg schools but commute regularly, you'll be driving on the 101 highway, and that can have its pros and cons. It is a commute that you have to be ready for. Petaluma, on the other hand, gives you the best of both worlds. Good schools and closest to the Bay Area with easy access via Highway 101 or the SMART train stations. Think about how your lifestyle really lends itself to the location. If you're both working remotely, you may find it best to go further north. Healdsburg or Windsor might work beautifully. One or both is possible to commute to the city, but without that need to get in every day if you're working remotely, this becomes more viable to be a little bit further north. It's important important to remember, you're not just buying into a school district, you're buying into a complete community and lifestyle. Sonoma County has many wine regions, an abundance of wineries, and you're surrounded by world-class wine production, food, culinary experiences that shape the community and character significantly. People appreciate quality food and drink, sustainability, agricultural heritage. They're all valuable parts of this community. So the county itself has over 80 museums, over 120 performing arts companies. Luther Burbank Center for the Arts in Santa Rosa presents over 200 shows annually. Charles M. Schultz Museum celebrates the Peanuts creator and has a great children's museum. Green Music Center brings world-class musicians to wine country. So there are so many great things to enhance the culture. This kind of culture stuff rivals even large metros. Your kid can grow up exposed to the arts, music, theater, and agricultural, and still have a normal educational life. Outdoor access is critical here. We have 50 miles of Pacific coastline with rugged beaches and state parks. The Russian River runs through, offering kayaking, swimming, fishing. Lake Sonoma provides boating and water sports. Armstrong Woods gives you ancient coastal redwoods just 30 minutes from town. The county maintains over 50 regional parks and 11 state parks just in Sonoma County. After living here my entire life, I can tell you the outdoor access shapes how families live. Kids play outside, on the plazas and in the parks. Families hike regularly. River time in the summer is just what you do. So this active outdoor lifestyle is part of what makes Sonoma County schools and communities so attractive. Your kids aren't just sitting in classrooms. They're growing up in an environment that values nature, stewardship of it, and outdoor activity. Each community has its own distinct characters beyond school quality and outdoor environment. Healdsburg maintains that upscale wine country feel with world-class dining, the Michelin star restaurants, historic plaza that hosts farmers markets and community events year-round. Windsor gives you a little bit more of a suburban comfort feel with strong events still around downtown, and then Santa Rosa becomes more urban with more amenities, diverse dining, shopping at larger shopping centers and malls, the largest farmers market in the county, and then down to Petaluma you see the historic Victorian charm of a true riverfront town and a growing food scene. From working with families, community character often becomes as important as school quality. Do you want an upscale wine country atmosphere, friendly suburban, family-oriented town, urban variety, historic small town vibes? And whatever your answer is to these questions will impact the district and community fit. Here's something I tell every family in Sonoma County. Living here requires trade-offs and commitments. You need to embrace that wine country lifestyle. That doesn't mean you have to drink wine every day. It means valuing agricultural significance, seasonality, local food, the environment. Be conscious of the environment we're given here and all the natural resources we have. You need to accept that paying a premium price for this environment is okay, and you need to be comfortable with a little bit more spread out, car-dependent lifestyle as compared to larger metro areas. But if these trade-offs match what you want, Sonoma County can deliver an exceptional place to raise a family. Strong schools, an incredible outdoor access, cultural amenities, small town feel, and proximity to so many great things like the Bay Area, the coast, even the Sierras and Tahoe. We really are in a sweet spot here in Sonoma County. Let me give you just a little bit more framework that I help my clients through in making the decision here. Firstly, assess your budget. What can you actually afford for housing? Remember that buying into a top public school district can cost more upfront, but save on private school tuition. The numbers run both ways though, and you have to make a decision that makes sense for you, and you have to be realistic about budget coming into it to set expectations and be looking in the right places. Second, consider your commute. Where will you be working, and where will the kids be going to school, and how feasible is that? We need to make a decision that makes sense for your everyday life, not just your aspirations. Also, think about the community character. Visit the towns, walk the downtowns, talk to residents. Each community has its own feel and environment, and it's important that you feel comfortable in that area and really embrace the local charm, whether it be historic, small town, suburban. It needs to be a match with your personality in whatever place you land. Fourth, look at the specific schools, not just school districts at large. Every school is different, and you can find great performance and a great fit or underperformance in every school district, good and bad. So you need to make sure that the specific fit is going to be right for you. Also, consider your timeline. If you're moving with young children, you very likely will want to move during summer or during a break and not disrupt the school year. So it does matter in the long term what time you plan to move, because you can plan ahead and make a decision that's best for your family. Here's what it comes down to. The families that succeed in Sonoma County, they figure out their priorities ahead of time and they start touring homes after they have created a budget and determined their needs, not the other way around. If you're seriously considering Sonoma County, send me an email right now at jonathan@BruingtonHargreaves.com. Tell me which school districts you're thinking of and what your timing may look like. I can send you current inventory in those exact school districts, recent sales trends, coming soon inventory, and help guide you to the right fit. All my contact details are in the description below. Now, once you've figured out your school priorities, the next question is what spot actually fits your budget and lifestyle in Greater Sonoma County. In our next video, we will break down Sonoma County markets heading into 2026 with all of our predictions for the new year, which cities are seeing the most momentum, and where the best opportunities are for you in the next year. So click the link below and see you then.